Okay, good morning everyone. We're back again. Same 6 people here again today. Say hi everyone.
Hello. Hi.
And now they're louder today. So Mateo, Cassidy, Sage, Juliana, Zach, and Evan have been here all week, and today is our Friday, so we're going to do a little math. Most of you will be picking this up next week, but today we're going to be talking about a few different things. So first though, let's review from last time. So who can tell me what is what's the radius of a circle? What's radius mean? If I'm talking about the radius. Sage?
Half of the distance to the other side of the circle.
So from the center to the outside edge, half the distance, right? So what's the diameter then? What's the diameter then? Juliana?
The whole distance around, or, yeah, the whole distance, no. The distance
Yep.
to the other end, from the beginning to the end.
Okay, but it has to go through the what?
Middle.
Evan?
The distance from one side of the circle to the next going through the inside of it.
Through the middle. Perfect. Yes, the distance from one side of the circle to the other going through the middle. Today, we're talking about another term, which is called circumference. This is probably the last one. So if you could copy this down, that would be great. I believe the students here already did. And the circumference is also kind of the perimeter. When we talked about 2D shapes, it's the perimeter around it. With circles, we talk about circumference. So it's the distance around a circle, and we represent that by the letter C. So when we're writing formulas, we're going to be writing the letter C. The students today did this little chart. You could do this at home. In order for you to do it, though, you'll need a tape measure, like a tape measure like this, and a calculator to do it. So what they did is they went around the school, and they found different circles. And then they measured the circle. So we're going to put a few of their answers in here today. Sage, can you give me one of your groups? What's one thing you guys measured?
A circle table.
Okay, so they measured a circular table. What was the circumference, Sage, the distance around it?
191.5.
191.5 centimeters. And what about the diameter?
48.
48 centimeters. Now, when they divided, I told them to take the circumference and divide it by the diameter. What did you get?
3.989.
Okay. Mateo, what's one that you guys had?
We had a frisbee.
Frisbee, okay.
The circumference was 72 centimeters.
72 centimeters, okay.
The diameter was 23 centimeters.
Yep.
And the circumference divided by the diameter was 3.13.
Excellent. One more from you, Sage.
We did a stool.
Okay.
The circumference was 40 centimeters. The diameter was
We did it
inches.
in inches.
Oh, that's fine. Go ahead.
Then diameter was 12.5.
Okay.
Then divided is 3.
3 even?
Yes.
Okay. So, do you guys see a pattern going on here when you do this activity? And I know it's not exact, but Cassidy.
It's all in the 3.
They're all around 3. So when they went and measured, they would measure the diameter. So for example, let me just add one slide in here. And I believe I can actually add a circle directly here. Yes, I can. All right, so here's our circle. Now, they took their tape measures. And they first measured the diameter. And when they measured their diameter, they ended up getting, whatever it was. In this case, it's about 16. Oh, that's inches. Let's do centimeters. It's about 41 centimeters. Then they took their tape measure and they wrapped it around the circle to find their circumference. And when they divided them together, they kept getting around the number 3. And that's exactly what we wanted to get, because that's going to help us with our next topic here. Now let's just see. Sorry here. There we go. The next thing we're going to talk about that has to do with all of this is something called pi, and I'd like you to have this down in your notes, and if you're at home, please have this down. The word pi is not pi as in we like to eat pie. That would be P-I-E. This is pi, P-I, and it's an actual word. It's actually it's a Greek word, and it's the ratio of the circumference of a circle to its diameter. So that's what it means. It's a ratio, which means we're comparing the circumference, the distance around a circle, to the diameter, the distance across a circle. The circumference is roughly 3 times greater than the diameter. So the distance around a circle is about 3 times greater than its diameter. And we use the symbol for pi, we use a symbol that looks sort of like this. You'll see it in textbooks often looking like this. And it represents a number which is 3.14. Now that number actually isn't 3.14. It repeats on almost indefinitely. But we shorten it to 3.14 just for simplicity's sake. So you're going to see this symbol a lot over the next few weeks in a lot of the lessons that we're doing. And all that symbol is it represents the number 3.14. It's what we call a variable. Or sorry, it's not a variable. It's what we call a constant. It's a symbol that represents a number. 3.14. So let me ask you while you're copying this down. If I knew the diameter was 10, what would the circumference roughly be? If the diameter was 10, Juliana, what would roughly the circumference be?
About 30.
About 30. It'd be a bit more than 30, but yeah, you're right. It'd be roughly 30 centimeters. Exactly. Exactly. And Mateo, if the diameter was 2, what would the circumference roughly be?
6.
Around 6. We're tripling it. It's 3. It's 3.14, so it's going to be a little bit greater than 6, but yeah, you'd be really, if you were estimating, you'd be very close. Now, there's a really good way to represent this. I usually have a video, so maybe I'll link the video here for people at home to watch it. That'll show you sort of how this works. But I can do it here. I'll just wait till everyone's done copying this down, and I'll show you what that is. Essentially, if we take the diameter, if we were able to take the diameter and stretch it out, it would wrap around a circle 3.14 times. Now, I can't actually do it on the smartboard because it doesn't let me bend the things like that. Oh, I'm sorry. But it is something we could do. Now, one way to do this, and I wonder if we could do this right now, Mateo, can you go see if there's pipe cleaners in that back drawer? We probably could do it with pipe cleaners. Yeah, it should be right in there. I think they're right there. Is there some there?
There's only one in this one.
Okay, grab it. Grab whatever there is. We'll make it work.
We also have bendy straws.
These pipe cleaners work better. Is there just one?
Yeah, there's only one. I can look more.
Yeah, go see if there's more, because even if there's 1 or 2 more, I think we'll be good. Now, if you're missing some of these notes, it's no big deal. I can easily leave this up for you after. I wanted to show you an example of how this works. So let's pull out our circle here. I'll try to do a smaller circle. Let's do like one there. Now, the diameter of the circle, let's draw it in here. Ugh, that option doesn't work good. But let's say the diameter of this circle is about this big on our pipe cleaner. So what I'm going to do now is cut this off.
I don't see any more in here.
It's going to be interesting. So here's our pipe cleaner. Now, if I was to bend the pipe cleaner around, it would go 1 time, it would go 2 times, it would go 3 times, and then a little bit more, the 1/4. So can you visualize that, Cassie? Does that kind of make sense? I know it's sort of tough to see, but here's your diameter. If we were to bend our diameter, it would go 1, 2, 3, and then slightly more because it's 3.14. Okay? That's kind of how that works there. So when we talk about pi, it's the ratio. It's a comparison between the diameter and the circumference. So let's look at a couple examples of that here. So if you can copy down this one example, that would be great. And this is the next worksheet you guys are going to see. Well, there is one more drawing circles one, but after that you're going to see circumference of circles. And the questions that we're going to be looking for is finding the circumference using the diameter. So if you know the diameter, how do we find the circumference? Who can refresh my memory here? How do I find the area of a parallelogram? What was the formula we used to find the area of a parallelogram? Cassidy?
A equals base times height.
A equals base times height. What about the area of a triangle? Juliana?
A equal to base times height over 2.
A equals base times height divided by 2. What about the area of trapezoid? Juliana?
A is equal to base 1 plus base 2 times height divided by
A equals base 1 plus base 2 times the height divided by 2. There is a formula that you can use every single time to calculate the area or the circumference of a circle. So let's do this right now. So here's the circle. I'd like you to have this circle down. Doesn't have to be exact, just make a rough little circle drawing in your notebooks. And we're going to have the diameter at 5.2 meters. We're also going to round our answers to the nearest tenth. You're going to find a lot of these questions have long decimal answers. So we're going to be rounding a lot of the answers in this unit. So if you're having trouble with rounding, make sure you message me for help. Watch some videos on how to do it because you're going to need to remember how to round. Now, the formula we use to calculate the circumference of a circle is a very easy one. It's pi times diameter. So C, or circumference, equals pi times d, or diameter. We could write it just C equals pi d. Remember, whenever we have a number or a letter right beside each other, it means it's multiplying. So that's the formula we can use all the time. If we take the diameter and we times it by 3.14, it's going to give us the circumference, the distance around the circle. So in this case, we can just fill in the blanks. If circumference equals pi diameter, circumference is, or so we don't know it yet, but pi is 3.14 and the diameter is 5.2. So we just need to multiply 3.14 by 5.2. Do you know how to multiply decimals? Yes, you should. We've been practicing them since September. We do them almost daily in our math reviews. So multiplying decimals should be something you remember, and if you're having trouble with it, you're going to need to practice, because that is something you're going to need to have for this unit. And when we multiply 3.14 by 5.2, we're going to get 16.3 meters. Now let's just go over here. And if you need a quick refresher in multiplying decimals, which I hope you don't, we just line them up by, we always have the number with the most digits on the top. You could do it the other way. You'll just do more work for yourself. 4 times 2 is 8. 2 times 1 is 2. And 2 times 3 is 6. We're going down to the next row. We're going to add a 0. 8 times 4 is 32. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 3 is 11. And 8 times 3 is 16, plus 1 is 17. Okay, add them up, we get 8, 4, 7. Why is that not right? Oh, sorry, 8 times 3 is 24, plus 1 is 25. Oh, good thing I'm checking myself here. Oh. There we go, that's better. And then we have 5. And that is still not right. I hope I edit this part out. Because I have to. Let's try that again. 3.14 times 5.2. 4 times 2 is 8. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 3 is 6. Let's add our 0. 5 times 4 is 20. 5 times 1 is 5. Plus 2 is 7. And 5 times 3 is 15. Now we're right. 8, 2, 13. Oops, that's ugly. 6 and 1. And our decimal is 3 places, so it's going to go right there. And if we round, it's 16.3. I apologize, the smartboard is really not writing very good today. I'd much rather do this on the whiteboard, but the camera's not focused on the whiteboard right now.
I can't see.
So 16.3. Let's try a couple more here. And I'd like you to try a couple of these on your own. So here's the first circle, and it's 40 millimeters is our diameter. So if you could copy that one down, and I want you to try this one in your notebook. Find the circumference of that circle if the diameter is 40 millimeters. Try that one first. And if you happen to finish early, feel free to go on to the next one, which is the diameter of 12.6. So use your formula, C equals pi times diameter, and go ahead and do your multiplication. You don't need to draw a perfect circle, although if you're having your compass out and you're drawing a perfect circle, that's fine, Juliana. So we have our 2 sample circles here today. I'd love to get someone to walk me through it once you get yours done. So if you could do the first one at 40 millimeter diameter, and when you're done, we'll go through that one quickly. Okay, let's start this one here. Mateo, what's the formula to find the circumference of a circle?
C equals pi times diameter.
Perfect. And what is pi?
3.14.
And what's the diameter of our first circle?
40 millimeters.
Okay, so we would have C equals pi times diameter. C equals 3.14 times 40. Did you do it, Mateo? What is 3.14 times 40?
125.6.
125.6 millimeters. Perfect. It's not millimeters squared. Do you remember why? Why do we add squared beside it, Mateo?
Because it's
We're not doing it here, but why? When would we use that millimeters squared?
an area.
In area, exactly. This is an area, so we don't need to do that. Perfect. Now the next one, circumference equals pi times diameter, same formula. This time we just fill it in. Circumference equals 3.14 times 12.6. And when we round, we'd end up with circumference equals 39.6 centimeters. Again, not squared, because these aren't, this is not area. Now the last one, and the last thing I'd like you to have down today, is finding circumference if you have the radius. So sometimes the question is going to be the same thing. Find the circumference, but they're not giving you the diameter, they're only giving you the radius. So what do you think you have to do if you need to find the circumference, but you only know the radius of a circle? Sage?
Times the radius by 2.
Times the radius by 2, thank you. Just double it to get your diameter. So since the diameter is 2 times the radius, we can modify the formula to look like this here. Circumference equals pi times diameter. We're going to do circumference equals pi, which is 3.14. But this time around, we're just going to make sure we double the radius first, as Sage told us. So we add together we add together our radius to get our diameter. And we go ahead and do the multiplication as normal, and we end up with 38.308 centimeters. This one doesn't tell us to round, so we're not going to round. So if you have the radius, just make sure you double it first in order to get the diameter, because the formula is pi times diameter, not pi times radius. That's something when we get into area, we'll have to use that a bit more. But for now, circumference is pi times diameter. If you have the radius, double it to get the diameter. That's the only difference here. Now, the worksheets that you will get will involve some word problems. I'm going to cover those here in our next video, so make sure you're watching these videos in order to learn how to do it. You could also watch other videos online. Khan Academy, Khan, is very, very good. However, if the videos are up here, a lot of what I'm going to be covering is directly in the questions you're going to get. So it doesn't hurt to watch these videos as well. So once again, thanks for tuning in today, and we'll hopefully see you guys in the next video. I've been told that I'm supposed to tell you to like and subscribe on the video and channel, so go ahead. We're up to 9 subscribers. Wow, that's huge. We went from 1 to 9 in 3 days, so look at that. The trend is continuing. But again, thanks everyone for tuning in, and we'll talk to you soon. Say goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Stefan.